I don't see how you could do this any easier. Like what Vercel? Nah, not going to be this easy. Highly doubt it. And the moment of truth. Will it sign in? Yes. Hey everybody. So today we're going to work on a project from scratch to show you just how easy it is to set up a real full stack app with Cloudflare. So what we're going to be using is this really awesome admin template called ShadCN Admin Dashboard. And this is an open source project that basically has a bare bones front end React SPA. So it's a single page app and it uses Vite, which is great, which is basically our development and environment, which is what we need in order to plug into the Cloudflare Vite plugin. So we're going to be using this dashboard, right, which has everything we need as far as it uses TanStack router, which is great, but it doesn't have any extra stuff that we don't need except for this clerk auth that we're going to remove. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up this. I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up this entire project and plug it in with a full TypeScript backend, all right, with and deploy it to Cloudflare's Workers platform. Okay, this is going to be completely from scratch. I'm going to go through on Cloud Code. I'm going to go through it on Cloud Code with you guys, and we're going to start by cloning this repo and get it going. So here I have a new directory that I made called FlareStack, and I'm going to use a script that I made for setting up Cloud Code. And basically it's going to install some scripts that help me plan the sessions out. And it's going to have a template for CloudMD. And it's going to also make sure that the Playwright MCP is fully installed. And then we're going to get to work. Okay, so basically it instructs it to test the Playwright MCP by navigating to Google. So that worked. So now we have the MCP ready to do testing along the way. Okay, so now it's asking me what I want this project to do. And I'm going to say yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy this and we're going to tell it to clone. Okay, I want to create a full stack. Hello. Sorry, I have the resize. Yes, a full stack web app with React using Cloudflare Workers with the Vite plugin in a single worker environment using this repo as the front end. Okay, please research the Cloudflare Vite docs for proper single worker setup. Okay, we should only have a single dev server script, and the plugin should handle the worker itself. Now I'm going to find the Cloudflare Vite worker Vite plugin, URL, just so it has that as well, and we'll see how it goes. So basically what it should do is clone the ShadCN admin, and then, or maybe it will set up the Cloudflare worker first. But basically it should be able to do this all on its own after doing some research, and we'll see how it goes. Now, a lot of times there's some issues with getting the Cloudflare Vite setup properly kind of hooked up, because it will try to run two different dev servers, which is like the traditional way to do Cloudflare workers before they introduced this single worker setup. So the single worker setup allows us to just deploy one code base, right? One app, right? Before you would have to do a backend app and a front end app. So that's obviously not as clean as being able to just deploy an entire full stack app by itself. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So it's trying to create some session plan. Right. So as you can see, it already updated the... I see. It updated some of this, and we're going to change this because it wants us to do clerk, and we don't need to do that. It also wants a Cloudflare API stuff like that, and actually we don't need that as well. So I'm going to steer it a bit. Okay. All right, here we go. So now it's giving us, I'm gonna update this plan. Okay. We will swap clerk for BetterAuth. Okay, for BetterAuth, right? So Clerk is a SaaS auth platform that would require us to use a third party. And we want to keep this as integrated as possible. So there's actually a fantastic library for this as well. And this is it. And so I'm going to put this here. Also, we will use worker CLI to do all auth with Cloudflare. So we don't need any environment variables for that either. Okay, add this to the plan and proceed. Okay, let's see how we go. See how it goes. So the nice thing about this, this awesome repo here is that it seamlessly integrates BetterAuth with Cloudflare workers. So you've got D1. Hyperdrive is for using an external Postgres, but we're going to use D1 here, or an external database. That's already integrated with Cloudflare. This is Cloudflare's SQLite database. Hyperdrive allows you to connect workers to external databases, and we're not going to do that for this one. KV is a KV store, a key value store for like fast cache lookups. So let's see. Yeah, secondary storage. So this is really good for the session caching. I'm going to tell it to use that because it's a lot faster than doing the D1 lookups. And R2 is for file storage. We don't necessarily need that for this. So let's see how it goes. Okay, it's updating Claude MD because in the initial instructions that I use, it mentioned updating Claude MD, so now it's doing that as it goes, which is great. It's sort of self-memorizing. Okay, so now it's ready for. Okay, so make sure I'm going to enhance the prompt. Okay, right. It already mentions the KV storage. Do integrate the KV storage for sessions. Okay. Proceed with the project. Okay. Use MCP to test. Do not stop until all steps are completed and tested. Okay. Use curl to test backend when needed. Done. Okay. So prompt 3, we are beginning. Let's see how it goes. All right, so I'm gonna let it run for a bit, and then I'll come back and we'll check the progress. Okay, we are back, and let's see what we've got here. So we have started. We have basically the app is all set up on our local host, and let's review what Claude managed to set up. Okay, now let's see here. Some various errors and different things. Wow, it worked for a good while. Alrighty. Okay, so it started working. It clones everything. Okay, we have some issues with Wrangler, and then it looked up again, figured stuff out, errors, and then finally, okay, it found the correct package, it loaded it, it set up the Wrangler.toml. We are cooking here, and it set up the Vite config, and it made a, this is the main entry, the worker, that basically tells the app how it's all set up. And it has things like the database, the sessions, the cache, all the things we want. And then it sets up a DB schema for a drizzle, and the drizzle config, and the index, and the more stuff with the worker. This is great. So it creates the auth setup. Very nice. And now where are we at? So we've got okay, and then it sets up the different scripts in the package JSON to run the migrations, all this stuff that we need. And so then it runs the migrations, or it generates the migrations for the drizzle, for the auth, right? And then it has it all here. And then we run everything in the background. Okay, let's see. Did it actually run the migration? Oh, there's an issue with the worker's Vite runtime. Okay, it checks, I mean, it's amazing. It does it all itself, right? Checks the documentation, and then it fixed the worker implementation, and now it's running. Okie dokie, let's see what's going on. Had some more issues, but the back end is running. Okay, it's able to run a health check. And the auth session, returning 404. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Fix the auth handler. Very nice, very nice. Server reloaded with a new auth dependency. Check the endpoints. Okay. Then it goes back. Dude, this is amazing. So yeah, it was messing up. So then it goes back to the original repo and gets the correct API, right? Because it's basically just kind of hallucinated this stuff, and it wasn't true, it wasn't right. And then let's see, we get further along. Okay, no more 400, it's a 404, so it's figuring out the routing. Right, and then it realizes that it never actually migrated. I noticed that above. It didn't migrate the database. So that's good, it figured that out. And let's see. Okay, it's having a hard time. This is essentially typical, is that it has a hard time with the BetterAuth routing, because BetterAuth uses its own sort of black box routing. It's not black box, but it's within its own system. But it starts to get going. Okay, and now it's figuring out that it's unauthorized. The protected route is working. Okay, we never quite got the auth working, but you can see that we have the front end with, it's basically a mock system. Okay, so basically the server crashed. Please restart. Okay, now we're gonna start debugging the auth stuff. Okay, it's gonna see what happened. By the way, I'm using the 1 mil context sonnet here. I think that really helps. I'm a big fan of it, and I haven't found it to really hit the limits, even though technically it does say that it will hit the limits sooner. So I think either they've increased them or it's not so bad. All right, so now we've got the front end running again. Okay, good. Okay, so this shows you that, okay, so it's doing it itself. Sometimes I'm conflicting with Playwright, but it's going. Okay, now, next we need to debug the auth system. Okay, review the, what is this? Review the BetterAuth docs to figure out the routing issues. Use curl to create users and sign in and get session in prep for integrating with front end. Okay, So I'm gonna let it debug the auth for a while, and then we will come back and see how it goes. Okay, all right, so it's still going. Still going. Oh, nope. So let's see what we got. The root still exists. The issue might the root is in the says that it is complete. I do not see that. Ha ha ha. Okay. All right. So what happened was we got somewhere, but we didn't quite. I can see that we totally lost the profile. We completely lost the profile components on the dash. So that's not good. I can't even see if we succeeded. So what happened? So what did it end up doing? Right. It implemented the use auth hooks and it did a bunch of stuff. Okay. Existing structure. Okay, so we removed clerk, which is great. And yes, we needed an auth hook. We needed hooks for state management and a component to integrate the auth provider. Okay. Very nice. And integrating it into the main TSX. So it wraps the entire app in the auth provider. And it starts to hook up to the sign-in forms and the sign-up forms. Nice, using Zod. I think that's because it's included in this. And let's see, form fields. Very nice, so it's setting everything up. Let's see, what does this say? Target React. Directly. Worker from the... No! No, why did it do that? Okay. No. What did you do? Okay, so now, it failed. It failed by... What did you do? You broke the Cloudflare Vite config. Okay, so, this is kind of a thing with Claude sometimes, especially with this. Yeah, it basically got confused and it broke apart this system, which is meant to be unified, right? I don't know why it did that. I mean, I know why it did that, because it ran into a problem and it thought, I don't know how to do this. Let me go back to a pattern that I understand. So this happens every time I work with the sort of the Vite plugin for Cloudflare, because it's a new system. So it's not in the training as well. So let's see what we get. Okay, so now it's got to kind of go back and fix itself. No. Okay. Okay, we got to go back to the docs. Review the Cloudflare Vite docs and set it properly. There shouldn't be any difference between dev and prod. Okay, so it somehow thinks that there's some different between the dev and the prod setup. So I'm gonna let it research and we'll see if it can figure it out. Okay, so let's see our debugging. The results look pretty good. Okay, here we go. So now I asked it to debug, and so it started doing some research, fetching the documentation from BetterAuth, and now it found the correct endpoints. Okay, and so right, it gets a 500. It checks the errors, which is great. The background bash support is fantastic in Cloud Code. This was one of my biggest things with Cursor. Might have improved by now, but here's a common issue. The Drizzle adapter is looking for a user model, but our schema defines users. Common issue. Basically, every time I set up BetterAuth, this happens. So then we change it to singular. Not exactly sure why BetterAuth does that. Okay, and let's see here. Good. So then it was able to create a, let's see, it says curl post. Right, so it's able to create a user, and then it's going to log in. That user exists too. Okay, test the sign in with an existing user. All right, 500. Okay, session schema is missing a token field. Okay, so it's figuring it all out. Okay, let's ask for updated at field in the session schema. Boom, boom, boom. Keeps getting better and better. And then here's the sign in working. Okay, great. So let's see. I'm calling session validation in my worker. Okay. Okay, it didn't quite test it at the end. So let me see here. All right, test the get session again. Sometimes it will do that. It will make a change and then not test the final thing. Let's see here. Okay, we're getting a cookie. Okay, so it's trying to, yeah. Okay, it's using its cookie and then, great. Okay, API.me. I mean the actual get session endpoint. This is what the client will use. Okay, so it was using the me, API/me, which is fine, but we want to use the actual BetterAuth session endpoint, right? The front-end client will use that. So let's see. Okay, great. So it found the session. So as you can see, we now have a production level auth system that's using our own database. Okay, this is a big one. We're not using an external SaaS that you have to pay for. This is all included in our worker. And this is you can do this with a free worker, or if you want to go crazy, the $5 a month worker can do even more as far as your limits and speed and different things like that. Okay, so now we have the backend set up with the auth system. Okay, and what we want to do is we're going to tell it to replace the clerk implementation in the front end and use BetterAuth instead. So, okay, replace the clerk integration on the front end with our BetterAuth. Okay, and yep, BetterAuth, connect the included sign in and sign up pages. Also make sure to link. Okay, we're just gonna do this, okay, because I was gonna say let's get these profiles to match our actual auth system. Okay, let's do that. Okay, make sure the front end profile components connect to real user info, and also connect the sign out buttons. Okay. All right, so let's see how that goes. It's going to be a bit, and then we'll come back. Okay, so it says that it's now working. Now, let's now fix the profile components which have on dash, which have gone missing, okay? Single worker, front end, back end. Okay, no difference between environments. Okay, let's see how we got. Let's see what happened to the profile component. Okay, this is a problem because, okay, we should move the dash to authenticated to an authenticated root, of course. Okay, it's a little bit not realizing. Well, that's, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so it's got to move the dashboard to an authenticated root in the first place. It should have been there. So let's see what happened. Right, so now it's going to look at the front end structure. Yeah, okay. Right, there's an authenticated It should already be there. Let's see here. See, it's already in the authenticated root. Yes, we don't have the auth guards. Okay, so we're getting there. Adding authentication guards. Okay, so the... No. Okay, no. Just redirect to sign in. We do not need a new page. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, nice. It redirected to the sign in. Let's see if it will log in. Okay. Will it test the login? Come on. Okay, test the login. This is the important part. There we go. All right, yes, there we go. And we've got test user here and down here. All right, so now you can see we've got a full stack application, right? I will now, let's deploy this bad boy. Let's test the sign out. Okay, are you sure you want to sign out? It worked. Okay, what was the password? Password 123. Sign in. Let's try apps. Now let me try something here. Haha, okay. This is a typical issue that I've run into with Vite. Let's get this fixed. Okay, we have a problem navigating to URLs directly. It shows route not handled, even though it works when clicking links in the dash. Okay. This is an issue I have with Vite sometimes. Classic SPA routing issue. Yeah, let's see if it works. Direct nav. Okay. Good. All right, it worked. Easy. Okay, let's sign out. Yeah, okay, great. Let's sign out. And I'll sign back in. Boom. Fantastic. All right, so let's deploy this. Okay, so I'm going to do a shortcut and just deploy it directly. But what we would usually do is get this into a GitHub and deploy it with GitHub Actions. But I'm going to just deploy it directly to show you guys how this works. Yep. So it's going to check my Cloudflare authentication, which should all be set up. Okay, great. So basically what it has to do is create the production resources, all the things that we use, like the KV, the D1, and everything like that. All right, so it's going to create everything. So we'll let it work, and then we'll see how our deployment works out. Alrighty, so we are now creating the different namespaces. Okay, so basically I tried to create a generic sessions KV, which not a good idea because, well, one is that it's used somewhere else, it seems like. But we want to make sure, yeah, there we go. We want to make sure we use unique names. And now it's putting everything in the Wrangler TOML. Good stuff. Okay, now it's running the production migrations. So now everything that we ran before, as far as locally, we have to run in production. So let's see how it goes. Fantastic. All right, all right. I don't see how you could do this any easier. Like what, Vercel? Nah, nah. Not going to be this easy. Highly doubt it. Okay, here we go. Let's deploy. Dun dun dun. Wah, wah. Okay, it probably does not have the right. Okay, there we go. Now this is just going to be deployed to a auto-generated worker URL. But if you have some domain names in your Cloudflare account, it's very easy. All right, let's do it. Okay. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Okay, nothing there yet. Let's see what happened. Okay. Good, good, good. There's an issue. It looks like... Okay, fix the assets. Okay, good. So it's going to check out why it's not serving the Vite. Why it's not serving the front-end assets. Definitely a build issue. So let's debug that a bit, and then we'll come back. Okay, great. So as you can see now, it's what it's doing is it is debugging the build process. Okay, so it's running into errors. And of course, it's trying to bypass the TypeScript check. That's fine for now, since we're just trying to show that we can do this, that this works. That gives you a real live app running in just a few prompts. So let's see how it goes. Basically, yeah, the Vite build will package it all up, and that worked. Okay. Haha, yeah, why'd you do that? Okay, good. Let's go. Yeah, you're not going to find this level of agentic debugging anywhere else. I haven't tried Codex, to be honest, but I have heard that it is not this smooth, okay? TypeScript errors have been, okay, right. And honestly, I really like the flow of the 1 million context. So the 1 million context, what it does is it seems to cull the context as you go, kind of what Cursor has always done. And it seems to be a much better flow compared to the auto compaction. I do not like that. So I find myself using the 1 million context pretty much all the time, unless I need Opus to kind of try to attack something really difficult. Or I'm planning to do a ton of work and I want to, save my limits. Okay, so we built successfully. Let's see what we got. Successful, all good. Do we have a real app on the internets? Boom. Yes, we do. Okay, so I'm going to say create test user and log in. Yes, successful. I know. You're happy. I'm happy. The viewers are happy. Okay, so let's make sure we can log in, because that's the real thing. Does it talk to the back end? No. Okay, fine. All right, so it's going to create it directly in the back end. I didn't test the sign up page, so we'll just let it do that. We'll let it do that for now. Okay, that worked. So it created the user. Okay, there we go. Product example. And the moment of truth. Will it sign in? Yes. There you go, guys. There is your production app with a real login system. Now, the next thing we could do is start to create the actual backend connection to tasks and whatnot. I've done that a little bit in the past, but that is basically how you can get a full stack Cloudflare Workers application in just a few prompts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my chat summarization tool to put a summary in the description so you guys can see exactly kind of what I did as I went along. You can reference it to those key points where I had to steer Claude to do things slightly differently. But as you can see, to be honest, nothing out there is as easy to do with Claude. All right, I don't know about maybe Firebase, maybe something like that, but Firebase has a lot of other issues, right? This is the cheapest, best way to do it. You get a full auth system in your own database that is fully deployed, ready to go, and can be debugged pretty much automatically by Claude. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like it, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing more Cloudflare stuff because it's just too easy. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.